Alright, check it out. Oh, we got flat. Actually, this thing has been getting low on me, and I think it's because of this valve stem. The valve stem leaks. Anyways, our car looks like it's done from this view, right? It's not done yet. I actually want to wet sand and polish this thing a little bit. Now that we got the color pretty close, we have one more step, and the last step is to actually wet sand, polish, and buff this thing. The paint probably looks pretty good, but believe it or not, it has a couple pieces of dirt throughout everywhere I painted, and I need to take care of that. Like, this booth is just like a homemade booth. I mean, it's just lights, it's just framed out wood, and we keep it somewhat dust free in here by just keeping pressured air pushed through here so it doesn't suck air from the outside area. And that's about the best we can do. I can wet the floors down and all that, but it's not like the booths that I have at my work that are like completely sealed off, so there's always going to be some dirt in the paint. It's kind of normal, but the amount of dirt that this has in it isn't bad. It's actually pretty good. If I wet the floors down and everything, sometimes I don't even have to buff them out, but for a car like this, I definitely want to wet sand and polish it. So, well, let's get on to the first step and start sanding this sucker. This is my little buffing cart. As you've seen, it was dusty as hell. I need to get like a cover for it. One day I'll get something. It'd be nice to have a cover because it's just way too dusty compared to how much I use it. Anyways, everything on here is like pretty much dirt cheap except my sandpapers. The 3M sandpapers are very expensive. But I mean, like, this buffer is only like a $70 buffer. That's a Harbor Freight orbital buffer, you know. I love using Wizards products. They got their Mystic cut and their Mystic polish. Really like using all that stuff. Yeah, not very expensive in my buffing department. This might look like a lot of spots. In these lights in here, they show everything as they should, and I kind of went a little crazy just because you can see so well. Half of this stuff I probably wouldn't see out in the shop, but whatever. And I also tried a new way of sanding. I started using this little guy. It might be too aggressive, it might actually distort the clear, but I tested it out in a couple areas, small areas, like this little area in here, and it actually looked pretty good. I went through all the steps that I would do after this stage, and it turned out pretty well. So what I'm going to do is actually sand and polish half the car just to make sure that I'm going to get away with it. Now, since it turned out well on that little area, who knows what's going to turn out on the rest of the area. So let's try to do that now. What am I doing? So I sanded all the little areas out, all the little major dirt areas down. Then I took the 6-inch DA with 2000 grit, and I kind of just went over the entire area, really sanding over top of these areas. And then I took 2000 wet, and that's when I'm actually blocking it down by hand. my compressor quiets down to talk. So, what have I done so far? We have sanded all the dirt nibs out. We have buzzed down with the DA 2000 grit, most of the peel, and then we block sanded with 2000. And now we just sanded with 3000 and then 5000, which is as much sanding as we need to do, I think. We'll find out after I start polishing this stuff. By the way, if I'm not very clear on the steps that I'm using here, I have a tutorial where I have this hood set up aside that I just painted a couple days before, and I go through all the steps with cutting and buffing on it. Just because I feel like my steps were different from any other steps that I've seen on YouTube. Was it more clear? I don't know. I don't feel like I'm the clearest speaker out there. So, but anyways, if you have any questions, or man, how did you do this, or something that I missed on here, check that out and see if it answers it. So, anyways, everything looks pretty good. We have that dull look that we're looking for. I don't see anything standing out that needs to be resanded. I'm just trying to get all this residue off here, try to get it as clean as possible. And I think the next step is to start compounding. Now, the scariest part about compounding is I'm going to be whipping that damn buffer over there at a couple thousand RPM, and I know I'm going to rip. I know I'm going to hit this, so I'm going to lock all these just so I don't rip one out. Maybe I'll leave it a little more stable. Look, all this stuff just fits. Oh, maybe not that one. They were fitting right into place. So. Yeah, that, I still got tape on there. Oh, that's a bummer. All right, I gotta take this back off. So, looks pretty good. I'm about to show you real quick. You see that gloss compared to this? No gloss, gloss, no gloss. It's hard to see in camera if there really was any imperfections. I'll be the first one to admit my paint jobs that come out of here are not the paint jobs that I have at work. I'm gonna say a little bit more dirt. Sometimes I get lucky and I get a pretty clean job out here, but of course it is not the same controlled environment that I have at work. So, you know, it's definitely gonna be, I'm not gonna say less quality, but a little bit more obstacles whenever you're trying to get a perfect paint job. But you can see the gloss is just awesome, you know? I mean, you can't beat that. It looks really good. And I'm trying to eye it up just to see if there's any difference in the clear from using that little sander that literally quickened this job up significantly. And I don't see any yet. As of what I see right now, everything looks good, pretty good. And I'll tell you what, I learned that here. I'm gonna take that to work big time, because at work we bust out 25, 35 cars a week. And yeah, I get little dirt specks here and there, and when I'm trying to spray another car, that's gonna free me up so much time just being able to zip, 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 and take the dirt out and then wet sand and polish and send it, you know? So, pumped, it looks really good. All right, here's just a couple quick passes of compound, just to make sure that my sanding is where it's at, and a couple spots might need to be hand sanded a little more. Got like a spot there and a spot there, but overall it looks really, really good. I'm really happy with it, and I need to knock this thing out. So I'm just gonna start plowing through every single step that I just tried to talk about and get this thing done and over with. Alright, we got the other half of the car finally sanded down. Looks like a mess. It is a mess, but it's getting there. So this wing was kind of tricky, but looks a lot better than it did. So let's get to polishing on it. It's going to be tough buffing around all them rivets. That is it for now. I'm gonna go edit this video so I can get it out to you all. If this is your first time on the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber, thank you, I appreciate it. And I will see you all next week. I'm gonna put some money in this super fund.